Tonight they're here to talk about enabling music as a platform. Ladies and gentlemen, Aisling O'Riordan and Caoilian Sherlock.
Hey Aisling.
Yeah.
You just called us influential.
That's a bit of pressure, isn't it?
So much pressure. Okay, hello. My name is Caoilian and this is my friend Aisling.
Hi.
So we run a musical, I guess, promoters is what we do, and we book bands and we bring them to Cork. And I'm very glad to be up here after lots of lovely things that Sam just said. Maybe Aisling will talk us through really what we do and where we met.
So we know each other for nearly 10 years, and we met in college and we played some music together, and then we both worked in a lovely venue called the Pavilion, and I'm sure a lot of people here know about the Pavilion. And there we kind of learned a lot of the kind of basics and a lot of the good lessons and bad lessons of what we do now. So when the Pavilion sadly closed, on the night it closed, I had a couple of gigs. There were a couple of gigs left over that didn't have homes, and I was like, I'm just gonna do them. I'm gonna put them on. And Caoilian sat next to me and said,
I'll do it with you. I'll do it too. I'll do it as well.
direct quotes.
So here we are.
Yeah, that was that.
Okay, so to give each other enough time to talk, because separately we would talk forever. So we thought that what we're going to do is we're going to interview each other.
Yeah, we don't have any like fancy full moon presentations.
Yeah. Sam really outdid us with the. Okay, so I'm going to start. I'm going to ask my guest, Aisling O'Riordan, why she thinks it's important why is it important that you bring bands and musicians and performers to where you are? Why is that important?
Because I love Cork. It's where I'm from, it's what I know, it's where I've always lived, and that's what every Cork person will say to you. But I think that sometimes Cork is forgotten about, especially with kind of international bookers, which is really sad because they see Ireland as a certain thing in a certain place. So for me, it's important to just bring people to Cork. And also, on another note, for me, putting on events and promoting is like also a really good way to help your mental health. I think that it's really important to have things to look forward to, because sometimes things can be tough. And even if it's like a gig that's happening in 6 months or a play or anything, it's important to have that in your kind of day-to-day to say, this is something I'm looking forward to when things are a bit tougher. So, yeah.
Lovely answer. Follow-on question. Very good answer, Aisling O'Riordan. My follow-up question is, Aisling O'Riordan is also in a band called Morning Veils. She's a musician and artist herself. And I would like to ask you, what, from being a performer, how do you like to be treated, and what do you get from music as you play it that influences how you give it back and how you book as a promoter?
I think when I'm going to play a show, the only thing I want to think about is getting up on stage and playing music. So I don't want to think about the posters, I don't want to think about the door, I don't want to think about any of that. So that's what I want. I want kind of performers to come in when we're doing a show and to trust us and to just say that we've got everything covered, to see us as allies, and that we kind of have got their best interests at heart, I hope.
Oh, you're crushing it up here.
Yeah, okay, two down.
Okay. Are we good? Will I ask you? Yeah.
I'll ask you now, will I? Yeah, okay. Oh, this is a good one. So, what is your ideal picturesque vision of Cork in its presentation of culture and arts versus what you think the city really needs in the same context? Ooh.
Oh, okay. Okay, I'll separate myself from paradise and realness. Okay, paradise to me is that when I see art and culture and like a show, if I go see a film or something, or a gig, what's really happening to me is that people are being brought together and there is communication and connection happening. And so I see that as the most important thing that's happening when music or visual art or anything's happening. And so I would like to see more of that, and I'd like to see more spaces, and I'd like to see the importance of what's happening. There'd be more of that. Now, what Cork needs. I would say that from reading the paper and listening to the radio, you hear a lot about like the Starbucks are here, and also the building. There shouldn't be so much building because remember the economy happened, and that's cool for like if you want to get wound up by that. But that just like doesn't really bother me. It doesn't really interest me so much. And so as much as that's a big conversation, I think what really brings people together is music and art, and also football. But we're not here to talk about that. But I think that's a kind of a realness versus my ideal thing, and I'd like to, more than Cork, I'd like to see a world where people communicate through art a bit more.
Very good. Very good. So, second follow-up question. When you get to the pearly gate, no, my job. That's something else.
I don't want in.
What do you think that the Irish music industry is like a viable industry, and do you see yourself working in it for the rest of your life?
Okay. Yes, because look at us, we're up here. So it's viable because it exists. We're in a music venue. Oh yeah, I know what you mean. Is it a big enough thing? Yeah, so for the last 2 years I've gone to a festival in Iceland called Iceland Airwaves, and what I've learned is that whole country is the same population as Cork County. And they have one of the biggest music industries right now. It's like real hip, and it's also...
Very hip-hop as well.
It's very hip-hop. We saw some hip-hop. And so it's clearly viable on a small scale to be really important on a world scale. They've got one of the biggest, like, and most important music festivals. And then also, like, years and decades have gone by where Ireland has been at the forefront of what's happening. Sinead O'Connor, U2, I don't know.
Nirvana played in Henry's once, I heard.
Nirvana played in Henry's once. We had them before they were even famous. So yeah, it's like clearly, it's clearly viable. And also, yeah, since I like gave up trying to be a professional footballer for wanting to play the guitar.
Was that like when you were like 5?
26 actually. I have only ever seen myself working in music or art. Good questions. There was the last one we both were going to finish on. Do you know what it is?
Yeah. You're supposed to ask it though.
Okay, I know what it is. What do you see the end goal of what we do as? Or what is the main aim of what we do as putting on gigs?
Well, the goal at the start was slightly different, and I feel like it's changing all the time. So when we started, it was like, we need to house these gigs, we need to put on these events. And then from then on, I just kind of started seeing it in different kind of sections of time. So I just want to be able to look back on whatever period of time I measured in and be really proud of what we presented and what we've been able to bring here and what kind of vibes we've been able to create. Yeah.
Snap, that's too good. I don't have a better answer than that. Yeah, I want to also be proud of what I have done when I am finished.
On